Good Saturday morning, the day of Saturn, this is. Now, some will say, why are you doing what you're doing? Well, let's be very clear about this. Number one, first and foremost, there are thousands and thousands of little kids being abused straight out of Christendom by people like yourself are entrusting, giving their one of the most sensitive parts of their life, turning it over to this church, this institution. And the leaders of these churches of Christendom, as can be seen as I'm going over this day in, day out. I was doing it. Let me get this up while I'm thinking about it right here, the website. It was so prominent that I had to create an RSS feed. I used to manually enter this stuff every week. Oh boy, it's overwhelming. I couldn't stay on top of it and be able to conduct the rest of my life. It was becoming a full-time occupation. So I had to create an RSS feed because there's so many cases coming out of Christendom. So many. And this is why I do this. It is exactly why I do it, because I personally do not have any kids that young, number one. I have no kids going to church, number two. That's number one. The hypocrisy that comes out of this as they point their finger out. I remember when I first was losing my faith and leaving the Christian church because I had question after question after question. As this was happening, up until that point, I was taught within that bubble of Christianity. And I want to interject real quick. I'm not saying all people that claim to be Christian are bad. I'm certainly not saying that all pastors in Christianity are pedophiles. That is not the point. But it is an epidemic. But I was taught, as a lot were, that if you weren't part of this Christian faith, you were a heathen, you were debauched, living a debauched life, and you were actually scared to get out in the world, quote unquote. You didn't associate with non-church, non-believers. You didn't do that, because those people would corrupt you. They would be bad influence on you, and on and on and on it went. But as my studies continued, and as I had questions, and as I dug deeper into the Bible, the history of the Bible, and this whole belief system, and what's going on in Christendom and in the church, and then I started integrating myself out in this world of heathens, gosh, was I amazed to find that atheists were good, moral people, that agnostics were good, moral people. I was amazed, honestly, to find out that Muslims, honest, good people, yeah, there were some bad apples, but not the whole group of them. That's true of society in general. What makes Christendom so bad is they have lifted themselves up on this pedestal. If they get any criticism, we're being persecuted. They don't want to talk. They will, and they continue pointing their fingers out. They continue. People say, why did people pick on Trump so bad? Or if you remember when the first debates came out in, I think it was 2016, what was Trump doing? For he came out fighting, calling women fat pigs, picking on people, even fellow politicians. He was relentless in his verbal abuse of people, but when it came back to him, when he opened that door, he set the stage for that kind of rhetoric. And when it came back to him, oh, they're picking on me. Nobody's ever been picked on as much as me. And that's the whole Christian thing. They continually get in the pulpit. There's a video out there of a big mega church. I don't know how many's in the congregation. And they're all chanting, let's go, Brandon, let's go, Brandon, which is something somebody created as a political statement against Biden. In a church. So first and foremost, I'm trying to look out for your kids, not mine, your kids, the ones you're dragging to church, the ones you're allowing these men and sometimes women to prey. And that's Prey, prey on. So every morning, and I'm trying to get this message across. I've done a DVD about it. I've created a mini documentary about this. I've got a website about this subject. And now I've started this little wee hour of the morning little broadcast just to share the cases. I'm not making this up. They're easy to find. You can find these cases if you care to look, if you care to want to know the truth. It's horrible. It's horrible. If it came out of a Muslim mosque, if it came out of the Church of Satan, these Christians would be all up in arms, but they don't want to talk about this stuff coming out of Protestant religion, Baptist, Church of Christ, Methodist. It's relentless. And 90% of 95 to 99% of what I'm sharing is in this year here, 2021. And keep in mind that the ones that get caught are the minority, because most kids, just like women, historically, most women that get raped don't want to get involved in making a charge about it. They're shamed, they're embarrassed, they feel like they're at fault. Well, here the kids are, these innocent little 12, 10, 14-year-olds, 16, 17-year-olds, have been molested by some youth pastor, some church pastor, and the whole youth, their parents have, oh, they got to go to church, got to go to church. They have built this pedestal, this church up so big that when this happens, the kids automatically, they feel shamed. They feel shamed. And they don't open up, sometimes 2 years later. Sometimes 2 years later. 2 charged with sexually abusing students at Christian Youth Theater, district attorney says. Oh, where's this wonderful event taking place? Last year, nearly a dozen former theater students claimed they were abused and discriminated against by teachers during their time in the after-school program. 2 people are facing charges in connection with the sexual abuse of students in their care at the Christian Youth Theater in El Cajon. County District Attorney Summer Stevens said Monday. David Hott, H-O-T-T, 34, has been charged with 2 felony counts of lewd and lascivious act on a child under the age of 14. Get a vivid mental image of what's going on here. 2 felony counts of lewd and lascivious act on a child under the age of 14. 1 involving a 13-year-old. Brad Christian Davis, 40, has been charged with 1 felony count of sexual penetration by a foreign object on a 16-year-old. This place is called the Christian Youth Theater, and it's a national after-school theater company. It's horrible. That's okay. So there's case number 1 this Saturday morning that I'm covering. I'm trying not to repeat any cases. All you got to do is a little tiny internet search. No deep digging at all to expose this stuff. No deep digging at all to expose this stuff. Accused of child sex abuse, former Christian school coach turns himself in. Hold on a second. Out of California, nearly 2 decades after alleged child abuse took place at Mother Lode Christian School, an arrest has been made. After the sheriff's office became aware of sexual abuse between a staff member and underage students. Fortunately, most jurisdictions did away with their statute of limitations on these horrible. And see, no matter what you do to these guys that get caught, no matter what you do with them, probation, prison, or whatever, it doesn't take away from the damage already done to these kids. It doesn't. And the parents are culpable because this is in your face, easily identifiable. It's amazing that some of these churches, after they get caught, and even some of the police, I just can't believe this came out of church. I just can't believe that. I just can't believe it. Believe it, because it happens all the time. The correct statement would be made, oops, there's another one. Had no doubt that would happen because it hadn't ended yet. Because it hasn't ended yet. It just goes on and on. Sexual abuse cases in the congregation of Christian brothers. This actually took place in Australia. After investigation, brothers Robert Best and Edwin Dowden and Stephen Francis Farrell were all convicted of sex crimes. It just no end. Let's go. I'm carefully looking these over because I don't want to get repetitious. I want to make sure I'm presenting these cases I've not presented before. People of praise school. They like that crap, don't they? I can't see that. Some of these places make you subscribe to their whatever. Christian group with ties to Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett. They are dealing with investigating claims of abuse from last year. This is good, but this is probably going to have a pop up here. Yep, there it goes. Don't let you. Wait a minute. No, it don't let you opt out. Yes, it puts it in there, and you are there. And I can't read the article. I can give you just a brief summary. Court documents filed last week say a culture of silence and secrecy covered up years of physical and sexual abuse in Christian schools. I think I covered this one already, but we're going to, just for the sake of argument, make sure Egg Harbor Township man charged with sexually assaulting children worked as a teacher's aide at Christian school. Nothing. Sexual assault allegations at Richmond Christian School. This is August, it's 2021. It's not old stuff, people. This is continual, never ending. 2 women, a former teacher and volleyball coach, have been arrested and charged with sexually assaulting students at Richmond Christian School, a private K-12 school at Belmont Road in Chesterfield. Tara Drucker, 30, a former teacher at Richmond Christian, was arrested on Thursday and charged with 4 counts of taking indecent liberties with a child by a custodian. Police say Drucker of the 300 block of Carl Inn Drive at North Chesterfield engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a juvenile female student. These Christians are against homosexuals, but the church leaders are having some good affairs in the homosexual world, aren't they? And then out of this same school earlier this week, police also arrested volleyball coach at this same school, Elizabeth R. Bredemere, for allegedly sexually assaulting a 17-year-old female. Oh, they in the wrong community there. For allegedly assaulting a 17-year-old female student, Bredemere of the 2600 block of Red Lane Road in Powhatan is charged with taking indecent liberties with a child by custodian and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Unbelievable. And there's more. During the investigation, police spoke with head of school Clifton Williams and the school's business manager, Derek Zebzinski, and determined both failed to notify authorities. Williams, 66, of the 15,000 block of Manor Gate Court, and the other guy, Zebzinski, 46, of the 8,900 block of Waterfowl Flyway, was arrested August 20th this year and charged with failing to report suspected abuse and neglect of child. Yeah, that's not unusual either. That's why I say most of these cases do not come to the public. They do not come to anybody's attention. It's a failed proposition that honestly, it's just horrible. It's just horrible. There's more from the churches themselves. These are Christian schools. I just did not want to miss out on these because I'm taking my kids out of public school because they won't allow praying. Well, take them over here where all the praying takes place. Send them to church as you see what's coming out of the Christian church, and then send them to a Christian school and see if it's any better. They get to pray and they get preyed upon. Christian school teacher, institutional sexual assault on students. That's that same school. There's a Christian boarding school, Circle of Hope. Circle of Hope. 102 counts. 102 counts. The married owners of a Christian boarding school for unruly teen girls in Missouri are in custody, facing between them 102 criminal counts of abuse and neglect. 102 out of Christian boarding school. Boyd and Stephanie Householder, he 71, she 55, respectively, were arrested and charged on Wednesday morning. Boyd faces 79 counts and one misdemeanor, felony counts, one misdemeanor, including charges for child molestation, sodomy, sexual contact with a student, and neglect of a child. I want you to get a visual of this. I want this to soak in, get a visual of what's going on here. You don't have to use your imagination. You don't have to use your imagination at all. It's in your face. It's in your face. Stephanie is charged with 22 felonies of abuse or neglect of a child, endangering the welfare of a child. These incidents occurred between 2017 and 2020. That's how long it took. This went on before they were called the Circle of Hope Girls Ranch and Boarding School, located about 45 miles northwest of Springfield, Missouri, in a town called Humansville. Was exposed after a number of alumni, including the householder's own daughter, spoke out, many of them on TikTok. It was August 2020 when 24 girls were removed from the school by Child Protective Services after several allegations of abuse were made public. Boyd is charged with 6 counts of second-degree statutory rape, 7 counts of second-degree statutory sodomy, 6 counts of sexual conduct with a student, 1 count of second-degree child molestation, 56 counts of abuse and neglect of a child, and 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a child, Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt said. Stephanie faces 10 counts of abuse and neglect of a child and 12 counts of endangering the welfare of a child. Extensive, horrible, sexual, physical, and mental abuse perpetrated by the householders. The allegations are based on forensic interviews and the statements of 16 victims. Smith's office said that included restraints that involved Boyd householder pushing his knee into the backs of several victims, applying pressure to certain pressure points, handcuffing and restraining victims' hands and feet, forcing victims to hold the push-up position. He allegedly slammed victims' head or bodies against walls, slammed or hit them with implements ranging from his hands to his belt, shoved the victim's face into horse manure, poured hot sauce down a victim's throat, among other instances of physical abuse. One instance, Boyd forced the victim to drink at least 220 ounces of water and then run a mile until she vomited, and then forced her to run again. He also allegedly instructed several victims on the best way to kill yourself by cutting your wrist upwards, not across. Circle of Hope has been under investigation since last August, which is also when the householders voluntarily closed the operation and put the property up for sale so somebody else can do this same child abuse bullshit. How do you not respond in a way of saying, I'm through? How do you not? How do you not respond by saying, I'm through with this crap? How long are you going to keep supporting this crap? If there were any other institution besides having the word Christian attached to it. Heritage Academy. Oh, I hate this. I just want to read this article and it won't let me. It wants to. I got now they want everybody to subscribe to something. I just want to look at this one article. I was groomed for sexual abuse within the walls of Heritage. There to get a Christian education from Christian teachers, Christian men, Heritage Academy. Valley Christian sues a lawsuit. This is all 2021, folks. This is not old cases. Former student sues Valley Christian High School alleging coaches unimpeded sexual abuse. Two athletes whose stories spurred criminal charges against Greg Marshall when it quote expansive reforms to train educators and students to identify grooming and other exploitative behavior. A former Valley Christian High School athlete is, well, it keeps popping up, but anyway, you get the point. You get the point. Some of these I read in depth, others you can look up yourself. You can review this live stream, all 10 or 11 of them that I've done so far. And you can fact check these cases all you want. Fact check these cases, please. I encourage you to. Richmond Christian School headmaster. Richmond Christian School headmaster, business director, both charged with failure to report sexual abuse to Chesterfield, Virginia. Dr. Cliff Williams, 66, head of Richmond Christian School, and Derek, oh, I've already said that one. Okay, we've already been through that, but I don't want to get too repetitious here. That's not my intent. There's enough in here without me saying the same ones over and over. This is a story. This article starts out content warning. This is a story about child sexual abuse. May contain graphic descriptions and strong language and may be confronting and disturbing. Let's go. Let's have it. I was an altar boy in the mid-70s. I had the misfortune of coming across a priest who sexually abused me, and at that time, being the youngest in the family and the church held in such high regard, I was too scared to tell mom and dad. See, this is common. This is common. This is not unique to the Catholic Church. At the age of 11, Christian was raped by a priest visiting his school parish in Sydney. He was at a loss following the assault, bleeding and in pain, not sure what to do. He returned home, threw his blood-stained underpants in the rubbish bin. Although he didn't tell his parents, the following week, he worked up the courage to tell his class teacher, Miss Feldon. I don't know the words, sexual abuse. I said, he's hurting me. She knew what I meant, and she didn't believe me. She became very violent towards me to the point where it really affected me. It does hurt me still. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. I physically couldn't walk, but I could jump up and down on the bed when the door closed. I was so excited not going to school. It was only when my brother came home on leave from the army, he had heard that I'd been sick. I remember him coming in and sitting down next to me. He offered me $20 to walk. I took the money. Although his parents didn't know about the abuse, they realized something was wrong and were encouraged by Christian's uncle, Marist's brother, to move their son to a state school. Like I said, that's the only Catholic one I brought up this morning. Just Cape Fear Christian. Here we go. Let's go to another. Cape Fear Christian Academy sexual abuse. According to recent accounts, two male student athletes have accused Tammy Moran of sexual abuse during times they were living at her home. At the time, Moran, 45, was the school's chief financial officer, and she and her husband also offered to house student athletes. Each of the victims who have come forward has alleged that the sexual abuse occurred while they were minors and living in the Moran household. sexual acts with kids, sexual predators who target children, often count on their victims to remain silent so they can continue the abuse on others. And this is what happens. It's not a joke. It is not a joke. This is very real. Get a good picture of this stuff going on here, folks, because this is not a joke. This is not a joke. The Daily Beast. Rapes, daily beatings, and no escape. Christian school was hell for these boys. Jacob dressed himself in a camouflage jacket and a matching beanie. On a summer morning, he ran away into the West Virginia hills. At 14 years of age, he was one of the youngest, smallest, and longest attending students at Blue Creek Academy, a religious reform school for boys from which he was desperate to escape. Blue Creek Academy was made up of an old schoolhouse and several cabins situated on a remote campground in central West Virginia. A mission of the nearby Independent Fundamental Baptist Church, Pastor James Waldeck, advertised Blue Creek as an alternative to today's degenerate secular culture and education methods. Oh yeah, so let's bring them into the Christian world and sexually abuse them, and physically abuse them, and mentally and emotionally abuse them. It took in boys who had been in trouble at home, both locally and from far away as Texas, to be reformed. Amen. Its principal, 35-year-old J.R. Thompson, had reopened the church's campgrounds in 2010, renamed it Blue Creek Academy, and marketed the boarding school, which he ran with his wife, Hannah, as a godly answer for at-risk teens with emotional and behavioral disabilities and Christian parents with $1,000 a month to spend on their salvation. Oh, Lord. Paying $1,000 a month for their kid to be raped, abused, sexually, mentally, physically, all the way through. We can't wait to watch God move as he helps us snatch troubled souls out of Satan's hands. What the boys found when they got to Blue Creek Academy was something else entirely, an all too common story for victims of Lester Roloff inspired homes, which thrive as part of the unregulated religious teen reform industry. Along with a strict Bible-based curriculum, boys at Blue Creek Academy were allegedly subjected to isolation, physical beatings, and mistreatment. At least 2 students reported sexual abuse by another student, according to court documents from a pending civil case brought against the school by one boy's guardian. Complaints and reports from West Virginia's Department of Health and Human Resources obtained through the Freedom of Information Act request by the Daily Beast, and interviews which a lawyer representing 3 Creeks Academy students, 3 other former students, 1 parent, and the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office. Once at Blue Creek, the boys were cut off completely from the outside world, former students and their representatives claim, bunkered in dilapidated quarters that were infested with rats and mice. It doesn't end. It just does not end. They attach Christian to it, and these blind sheep being led to the slaughter send their own kids, pay to support this shit. Pay. And then claim persecution when anybody brings these facts out. Oh, they're just picking on the Christians. They're just picking on the Christians. Can I get an amen? Doesn't end. These 2021 former Lubbock Christian school president will be on house arrest for the time being after pleading guilty to federal child pornography charges. Christian school president Larry Ty Rogers, 56, on Monday appeared in federal court for the first time since he signed paperwork admitting to possessing an image of child sexual abuse. Rogers stood next to his attorney, John Floyd, before U.S. Magistrate D. Gordon Bryant, who accepted his plea of guilty to 1 count of possession of child pornography. Rogers, who was removed from office in November, faces up to 10 years in prison and, of course, will be required to register as a sex offender. How many of these sex offenders are out there that has not got caught yet? According to court documents, Rogers' wife caught him in October holding his iPhone under a bathroom door, taking pictures of a 15-year-old girl as she was naked in the bathroom preparing to take a shower. Jesus. He admitted to his wife that he took pictures and videos of the girl and later deleted the materials. A colleague who learned about his behavior also confronted Rogers, who admitted it and said, "I guess I should resign." Police investigators searched his phone but found Rogers recently cleared it. However, Rogers admitted that he used the phone to possess images of child sexual abuse. Oh, man. This is not unique. This is what's crazy, is these people say, that's sad. It's so sad it comes out of the Christian church. Yes, it is sad. It comes out of any place. But stop pointing your fingers out there. Clean up your own fucking house before you start picking on other people. Biden is a saint compared to these Christian people. God. It's no wonder they supported the likes of Trump. No wonder. He was a sexual predator himself. Fit right in with these Christians that support this crap. Christian school coach faces felony charges. Have we covered this one yet? Yes, we've covered that one. I'm not going to waste my time covering the same things over and over. The youth theater, Christian youth theater, covered that one yet? Yes, we've covered that one yet. What about Sunnyvale? Have we been to Sunnyvale yet? A former teacher employed by a Christian's prep school in Sunnyvale will face child abuse charges based on allegations she had a sexual relationship with a 13-year-old student for several years. Abigail Ann Holloway, 33, was arrested in Colorado on Sunday in Arapahoe County by investigators from Sunnyvale. Holloway was employed as a teacher at St. Mary's Academy in Inglewood, Colorado. Jesus. And then what do they say? It was a shock. It should not be a shock. Look at these cases. How could you even begin to be in shock over an epidemic that is in your face? It's in your face. This is what's so. How can you sit there? I just can't believe it. How can you not believe it? How can you not believe it? It is so in your face an epidemic to sit there and act shocked about this stuff because it's constant. It don't take it. The only thing is that unlike the what happened in Catholicism, because of the way that the Protestant churches are set up, it's easy for this to be swept. You know, the local cases get reported in the local news media, and it doesn't become a national or international subject. We're going to change that because this is real. This is very, very real. Phew. Pentecostal people of praise. It's August of this year. Let's bring the Pentecostals into it. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not going out here writing this stuff. I'm finding it. In an email, the leadership of the Christian group People of Praise have already done this, was determined they did mishandle a student allegations of sexual abuse. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to talk about it. People of Praise is a charismatic religious community with intentional communities worldwide. Majority of members, anyway, it is, there you go. Pentecostal People of Praise acknowledge they mishandled these student allegations. Maryland. This is a new one. Maryland. Albany, Maryland. Montgomery County Police are looking for a private school admissions director charged with sexually abusing a student. Police announced Thursday that a current student at the Washington Christian Academy in Albany has reported being inappropriately touched by Thomas Charles Wilson, 47. Police say the student told detectives on Wednesday that the incidents occurred on school property between January 1 and Tuesday. Detectives have obtained a warrant charging Wilson with sexual abuse of a minor, 2 counts of third-degree sexual offense and 1 count of fourth-degree sexual offense. The Academy says Wilson has served as admissions director since 2008. That leaves him 10, 11, 12, 13 years? And how many students that have not come forth? Think about it. Think about it. I want you to get a good visual of what's going on here. I want you to get a good visual of what's going on here. Still 21 cases forming agape. We know what the word in Christianity, agape, means. Form of love. The agape boarding school students say FBI is now examining abuse allegations. Agape boarding school, Christian reform school in Cedar County. In recent days, the FBI has been inquiring into allegations of child abuse at Agape boarding school in Cedar County, said two former students of the school who are now plaintiffs in ongoing civil lawsuits against Agape. Former students seek damages from the school over allegations of severe physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. FBI personnel appeared to be trying to determine if allegations of wrongdoing at Agape might cross state lines and thus fall into federal law enforcement purview. If you remember, it was back in the 70s or 80s, there was this big thing that hit nationally, maybe even international, about satanic people, satanic cults and satanic church and whatever. And they just went over the top of that, and none of it could be proven. This is proven. Everything that the Christians were pointing their fingers at the Church of Satan, and they talk bad about the Muslims and this one and that one, and look what's going on here, people. Look at what is going on here. Riverside school counselor sued again over allegations of videotaping boys. They preach against homosexuality while they want to look at little boys' dicks. I guess fondling. The parents of a fourth person have sued a former Riverside school counselor who authorities say used a hidden camera to videotape boys in a bathroom at the private Christian school. Praise God. Let's get them out of the secular schools where they don't teach God and they don't allow praying, huh? So that what? So we can send them to Christian schools where we know they'll get abused. We're going to take the guesswork out of it because it's a fact there's an epidemic there. So we're just going to drag them right in and let them get that. Yeah, that's it. That is it, boy. Kindergarten teacher at private Christian school charged with sex assault, child porn solicitation, Burbank, Illinois. Suburban Illinois kindergarten teachers facing charges after being accused of engaging in sexual conduct with two underage age students. Shannon Griffin, 49, a teacher, Jordan Baptist School, not Catholic, not satanic, not Muslim. Jordan Baptist School is taken into custody Monday and charged with sexual assault and solicitation of child pornography. Investigators said Griffin sent nude pictures and videos of herself to a high school junior and requested he did the same. There's not just men either, yeah, women up in this stuff too. And Griffin is the wife to the pastor of Jordan Baptist Church. It's not funny. It's not funny. It really isn't. It's just when I saw that, it's like, are you kidding me? This lady, 49, who's sending nude pictures of herself to this underage, this kid, and requesting he send some nude pictures of himself to her, is the wife of the pastor. The couple have 3 daughters, 2 who teach at the school. School teaches about 100 students, grade K through 12. The Illinois Department of Children and Family Services also has an ongoing investigation into multiple allegations of abuse. So no surprise. See, this is what people have got to wake up to. If you see what's going on, you'll never say, "Oh, I'm shocked to hear that." Coming out of church, I just can't believe that. No. When you see what's out there to be seen that's not being put in your face, as the Trumpsters would say, The fake news is not giving it to you. You got to dig a little bit for this information because they might present it, but it's not on the first page. How's that? Griffin was also charged with grooming and distribution of harmful materials. I know I'm probably going over time. I'm already into 40 minutes. It just doesn't end. Focus on the family. Whew. Yeah, here's one. We went over the one that was used TikTok to. This is the same. I'm sure. Same couple. Their own daughter exposed them. Christian Reform School founders arrest after being exposed by their daughter on TikTok. Praise TikTok and praise the daughter for having the guts to stand up against their own Christian parents as they abuse these Christian kids. Oh, Lord. Family sues church over sex crimes at Christian school. Ex-Coventry Christian school teacher accused of sexual blah, blah, blah. Never just goes on and on and on. So I'm going to wrap it up there, folks. I've gone longer than I usually do. Ex-Coventry Christian school teacher accused of sexual contact with teen girl. Coventry Christian Schools, Norristown, a former Christian school teacher in Lower Pottsgrove must answer in charges in Montgomery County. Scott Brandon Klein, they give their street address where they're from, or at least the block they're from. And the charges all read the same. Christian, 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 Christian. There you go, folks. I'm going to kind of end it right there. It's sad. It's horribly, horribly sad, to say the least. But, it just wouldn't happen at my church. Well, it's happening all over. It is an epidemic. And chances are it's happening in your church and you don't even know about it. These people, when their pastor, when their group leader, it happens in their Christian school or whatever. Oh, I just can't believe. If you look at this, you wouldn't be shocked at all. You'd say, yeah, figures. Nothing surprising about it, folks. This common. It is common, and you can rest assured. I've seen it decade after decade after decade. It's common. It is just totally, totally commonplace. It shouldn't be shocked at all. That's how common it is coming out of Christianity. Say, oh, just can't believe. What we need is more prayer in school. It ain't doing any good in church. It's not doing any good at these private Christian schools, is it? Not protecting anybody. These kids are damaged for life. I don't care what you do, these pastors. I don't care whether you arrest them. I don't care if you give them 10 years, 10 months, probation, whatever. The kids are damaged for life. I know. Because my close cousin, Denise, died at 35 because she never could overcome the trauma she went through from sexual abuse around the church. Wake up, people. Get out of the cult.